Hi there, Scott here again. How are you going? Now, in this particular episode of the raw recipe video series, we're going to do something sweet. And I like sweet, you like sweet, everybody likes sweet. In the old food days, I loved apple pie and cream. Problem was, the flour in the pastry used in the apple pie played real havoc with my gut. That's the gluten intolerance. And then the lactose and casein issues in the cream played real issues with my gut. So really it was a no-win situation. However, in the raw world there are some really wonderful sweet alternatives using dates as the base, low GI sweeteners like pomegranate, organic pomegranate syrup and agave and things like that. So in this particular video, apple pie with pomegranate cream. Really simple. All you're going to need is some almonds soaked overnight. The recipe basically calls for about 1/4 cup of soaked almonds, but you can vary the amount. What I tend to do is I've got a little cake form or a little tart form with a push-out bottom, basically, that's ideal for doing these sorts of things. I'm finding that, because I actually live on my own, I find that doing small portions for me is really, really neat, and you can just expand on it. So anything I'm sharing with you right now, just open it up a bit. Calls for some medjool dates, or these are Turkish dates, which I find just as good and just as sweet. Between say 5 and 7 of those. 1 apple, that's all you need, not even 1 apple. We're going to even use just half an apple for this little exercise. Our trusty almond or cashew milk in this particular case, some leftover cashew cream to actually thicken that up a little bit, and of course some pomegranate syrup, and perhaps a dash of agave, and that's essentially it, just finishing it off with some cinnamon. So what I've done is, prior to this, I've actually just processed the almonds into a lovely flour, just using the coffee grinder attachment to my bullet, and I've finally chopped the dates up, and I've come up with a hard sort of, it's like a it's like a cow pat, actually, dare I say it. It's firm, but it has the ability to be malleable inside something like the cake form. I have added a little bit of the organic, this is actually Turkish organic pomegranate syrup to this. And what I'm going to do now is just undo a little bit of this, because I probably don't need it, and push it into the bottom of the form. And this is the beauty of it, because basically the date will actually give it the sweetness, the base, the sweetness, but it also gives it the stickiness as well, which means that it's quite malleable around the bottom of the cake form. So push that in, and you can make it as thick or as thin as you like, but the idea is once you've done a couple, you'll work out what your preference is. And always keep just a little bit aside just to push in here. And once the form has been removed from around this, you've got a lovely perforated edge that looks pretty attractive as well. So we just push all that in, and that's pretty well done. And again, around the bottom, just to the outside, and just square off the top. Okay. Now this is how simple this is. This is really, really simple apple pie. And I posted this image on Facebook recently, and I had comments basically from people suggesting that it actually looks cooked when we're finished. So there it is. It's actually just put into the cake form, or the little tart form. Tied it up around the edges, and just put that to one side. Now the next thing to do is just slice your apple. I leave the skin on the apple. I tend to just take the center out of this. Otherwise you get left with little cory bits. You don't really want that. Okay, and actually I'll chop that in half, because what I'm going to do here is turn that over and just chop down the sides here as thin as you can, because what we're going to do is just layer these around the inside of the, now this is a fresh apple, by the way, hasn't been cooked or anything. We're going to layer these around the inside, just overlapping each other beautifully here, of the little tart dish. And you get a little fan effect inside, and I'll show you this in just a second. A little fan effect inside here. Smaller apples work better than larger apples because you can get the desired effect. And if you're not absolutely straight and fan-like, you can just layer that in there and just use the little bits and pieces because you're going to eat all of this. Let's just do the other side. There we go. These are New Seasons apples. I love to load mine up, so I like lots of apples. And bearing in mind this is a nice, fresh, ripe, raw dish, nothing cooked. And honestly, when you actually do this for your guests and serve it up, it's quite mind-blowing. So basically all I've done is just filled up the center with the apple. It's all ready to go, all lined out neatly. And in a separate bowl, just take a little bit of your cashew milk and just pour that in there. And add a little bit of the cream, the leftover cream. Now you don't have to make cheese with your leftover cashew milk paste. As I've said in previous videos, the idea is to use it basically for a range of things. Okay, including lovely cream. We'll just put a dash of pomegranate syrup in here. This is really beautiful stuff. Now I've also put some in the base. When I mixed up the almonds and the dates, I put some pomegranate cream in the syrup in there as well. Give yourself a little bit of a taste because you want a sweetness here that reminds you of Mammy's apple pie. A little bit of agave, just a dash. Oops. Why do I tend to be too heavy-handed with that? Alright, that's better. And again, just taste that. Delicious, delicious, delicious. Now, the idea is, before you put the cream on it, just push this out. Okay, the idea is just push the base up, and you don't want it flicking up in your face. It's quite firm, but just do it slowly, and it will come up quite perfectly until you've got something that looks like. Just push the other side up here. Something that looks like that. So you've got a lovely little pie. Put that on a dish, which I forgot to get out. And just put the cream over the top. And this is the apple pie and cream. Now the taste of this, and again, here I go again, I'm salivating as I'm actually preparing this food. I get to eat this afterwards, so it's my dessert tonight. The taste of this is just fab. And the dates, the almonds, the pomegranate in the bottom, and just covering that there. A dash of cinnamon on the top, which is fab. Oh, and one other wee thing that I like to do is I like to actually just peel a little bit of skin off and just do a nice little design on the top. And this is something that you can perfect in time. The idea is to give you something that looks essentially like that, and that's your apple pie. So the cream's floating in the top with the apples and the cinnamon, and now I get to eat this. And I'll probably only have a couple of slices because that's all I can cope with basically. You know, you don't really need a lot of it because it's sweet, but it's not overpoweringly sweet, but it's actually delicious. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. A bit of Mum's apple pie, okay? The PDF is downloadable. Until the next video, enjoy being raw, and I'm Scott, okay? Cheers.